Wait a minute, what time is it? It's time for the March TBR. Hello book lover, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate if you're new here, and it's already time to talk about my March TBR, and I'm very excited. Am I going to read every single one of these books in this video? No, probably not, but these are my reading possibilities and hopes for this month. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting with my nonfiction pick. So I'm trying to read one nonfiction book every single month of the year, and this month I will be reading Taking Religion Seriously by Charles Murray. I don't know zip about this book. All I know is my father-in-law absolutely loved this book, and he was like, hey, I need you to read this book. I think you'll love it, and if you don't love it, you'll come away with a really good reading list. So I was like, all right, sure, John, I'll read this book that you love. I really don't know what this is about. At the end of every single chapter in this book, apparently this guy gives a reading list of Christian nonfiction books. Millions are like me when it comes to religion, well-educated and successful people for whom religion has been irrelevant. For them, I think I have a story worth telling. Taking Religion Seriously is Murray's autobiographical account of the decades-long evolution in his stance toward the idea of God in general and Christianity in particular. He argues that religion is something that can be approached as an intellectual exercise. His account moves from the improvable physics of the Big Bang to recent discoveries about the nature of conscience, from evolutionary psychology to hypotheses about universal moral law. His exploration of Christianity delves into the authorship of the Gospels, the reliability of biblical text, and scholarship surrounding the resurrection story. Interesting. So it sounds like maybe this is like this guy's story to becoming a Christian. I don't know much about it, but this is my nonfiction pick for the month. I'll let you guys know what I think by the time my March reading wrap-up comes around. Okay, let's go into book club books now. So I still need to read The Fellowship of the Ring for my personal Patreon book club. If you've never read this series, or you have a million times before, you are welcome to join us during our discussion at the end of the month here on YouTube. I will post the link on my Patreon. Nobody has to pay to access the discussion link. I will post that for anybody to see on my Patreon. I knew this was one that I might start in February, but will probably be in March because I want to be closer to the discussion time from when I've read this, so that way it's fresh in my mind. Next is The Atonement Child by Francine Rivers. This is for Oshina's Francine River book club for this year. I literally don't know a single thing about this book. All I know is I love Francine Rivers, so there's that. But I do think that this follows something to do with abortion, maybe. Just note that if this is a book that you are considering reading. It says, one heinous event changed her future forever. Now she faces an unthinkable choice that has the power to restore or destroy her dreams all over again. So there we go. I think this has something to do with abortion. Maybe it doesn't, and I'm totally wrong, but I'm really excited to read another Francine Rivers book. For advanced readers copies, I have 3, but I don't have the physical copies in my hand yet. The first one is The Good Fortune of Miss Robbins. Let me look this up so I can tell y'all what it's about. I think that Baker Bookhouse, when they posted their upcoming books for this year, it was under their like Regency one. So I was like very excited. Y'all know, girl loves Regency. Okay, The Good Fortune of Miss Robbins by Melanie Dickerson. I've never read a book by this author, but I believe she's a pretty popular Christian fiction author, so I'm excited to check out her work. My only remaining marriage prospects were the head gardener, the vicar, and the steward. But how could I marry any of them when I was in love with Lord Brookhaven? Charlotte Robbins accepts a governess position for the Earl of Brookhaven's siblings, despite rumors of the Earl's severe and mysterious demeanor. Okay, I'm already for that. If he's a grumpy Earl, yes. As a lowly governess, Charlotte entertains thoughts of possible romance with an eligible servant until she does fall unexpectedly in love with the pensive Earl himself. So I'm just going to stop there. Yes, that just sounds like everything I want to read. So moving on. So the next one, I've never heard of this author before, but this is from Haven Publishers. I think they're a new publishing group coming out of Baker, and they are clean and Christian romance, but I think their thing is mostly clean. But this is A Deal with a Debutante by Chelsea Bobolski. I may have said that wrong. She's running from London's Marriage Mart. He's running out of time to save his estate. Really? That never happens. neither planned on falling in love, but their hearts have other plans. American heiress Calliope. Help. We're gonna call her Mrs. Hart. American heiress Miss Hart is thrust into London's high society against her will, all because her mother is determined to marry her off to an aristocrat. Despite being named the debutante of the season, back in New York, Miss Hart wants nothing more than to avoid becoming another pawn in the social game. Edward Chase, the Earl of Hayward, is on the brink of financial ruin. To save his estate, he must marry, and Miss Hart is his last hope. Okay, we're gonna stop there. Honestly, so far it sounds like a very, very generic Regency romance, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because I love all of those things in a book. Okay, so the next one is actually going to be book 2, To a Lesson in Propriety. I'm actually currently reading this one, and so far I'm having a good time. This is Jen Turano. I've never read a Jen Turano book before, but you guys know if I am going to read romance, whether it is Regency, historical, modern, I like there to be funny things in it. I don't like it to be so serious and sappy the whole time. Not that I'm against reading a book like that because I loved Redeeming Love, but I feel like there was more to that story. But just a romance in general, I need some laughs. And so Pursuit of Civility by Jen Turano is coming out this next month, and so I will be reading that one. I don't know exactly who that story is going to be following, but so far in this one we are following a gal who is planning to open up her own finishing school, so like teaching women proper etiquette and manners and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so the next one's coming out and I'm enjoying this one so far, so I've requested the next one. Hopefully I will enjoy that one too. All right, now we're gonna move on to the book that is on my top 12 books that I want to read in 2026. So for March, I am picking The Innkeeper of Ivy Hill by Julie Klassen because, you guys, this might be one of my favorite book covers ever. I think in every single video that I've shown this book in, I'm like, look at the cover, look at the cover. But green is my favorite color. Nature is my favorite color. This will be my very first Julie Klassen read, which I'm very excited about because she is also a super popular Christian historical author. This one is a Regency, and there is this lady who is running an inn, like, to me, say no less. That just gives me Gilmore Girl vibes. Welcome to the English village of Ivy Hill, where friendships thrive, romance blossoms, and mysteries await. A woman's husband passes away, and she ends up taking over the inn, which is called The Bell, which is just the cutest name for an inn ever. Like, oh my word. And she has absolutely no idea how to run a business, but here she is doing it. There is a big loan due. She has to figure out how to save the inn, essentially, having no idea how to run a business. That just sounds like chaos, and chaos that I want to read. And then I believe maybe her mother-in-law has something to do with this too, and they really clash heads. I think romance comes into it at some point. I don't know, it just sounds, honestly, I probably didn't sound very enthusiastic at all talking about that, but Regency, we've got an inn. I don't know what more I could say I want. I want to read this author. There we have it, The Innkeeper of Ivy Hill. All right, this next one I am so incredibly curious about, and that is Theo of Golden by Alan Levi. Now, this is not a Christian fiction book. This is on like the top charts of Amazon bestsellers, New York bestsellers, like all of those lists right now. So this is a book that's very popular across the board between Christians and secular readers. That has me very intrigued because you guys know my biggest thing is just reading Christian fiction. I don't know much about this book, but there's this man named Theo, and he comes to this town, and he maybe is an artist or he's like an art dealer or something. It's a very slow-paced story from my understanding. It's very character driven. People say that this man Theo is such a good representation of Christ, and so I'm very intrigued by that. Also, there's tons of biblical references and things in this book because the author is a Christian, but it's not being sold as a Christian book. So I don't know. This one has just piqued my curiosity for so many reasons. I believe I'll be vlogging this one because I want you guys to know all the details because it is such a popular book right now. The only thing I've heard so far about content is that there is some language in this book. So if you do not like language, if you're very sensitive to language, maybe don't read this one. But I'll give you guys all the details on if it's really intense or if it's just a scene or two or what's going on. The fact that this is a book so popular popular even in the secular world right now, but it's filled with biblical allegory or themes, Bible verses, I don't know. The fact that it's Christian in some sense, just I have to read it, and I just have to let you guys know what I think about Theo of Golden. The next book I will be reading in March is going to be Romancing Daphne by Sarah M. Eden. This is the third book in the Lancaster family series. Y'all, I'm going to tell you all about it next week when I do my February reading wrap-up video, but I spiraled way off course with my TBR last month and started reading this Regency romance series, and I have like never been so obsessed with a cast of characters in my life. I've read the first two already, and the fact that book 1 and book 2 followed like the same characters, like they were just as important in the second book as they were in the first book, I have to read book 3. Like I have to. There's 5 books in this series, so for the next couple months you're probably gonna be hearing me talk about the Lancaster family. I'm just so obsessed with this series. So Romancing Daphne is another book that's on my list to read in March. Let's go ahead and do 2 TBR jar picks and see what I come up with. So my rule with my TBR jar is that I draw 2 slips at a time, and there are over 100 different prompts in here, and then I just choose the prompt that fits my mood the best. So let's see what we get. A book featuring a character like you. That could mean a number of things. She could be a reader, she could be a hairstylist, she could be a woman, and a book you pre-ordered. Oh, interesting. I think I'm actually going to be able to do both of these prompts. The Rules of Falling for You by Molly Rushmore. So she is a girl like me in the sense that she's obsessed with Regency romance. She is also an online entertainer of sorts. She has a podcast where she gives romance advice from a Regency perspective, and she gets invited on a Regency romance singles retreat. Need I say more? This is like me in a nutshell, but also I pre-ordered this one, so look at that. 2 birds, 1 stone. All right, the next one. Ooh, a retelling or a funny book. Okay, those both sound wonderful because we know I'm all about funny books, but a retelling. Honestly, I'm going to kind of cheat on this one in a way. I'm gonna go with a retelling. I am like 100 pages into Stardust in Silence by Ashley Willingham. That is a Little Mermaid retelling, but in space with pirates. It's Christian, and I already finished it. I don't know where I found the audacity to think I would not finish an Ashley Willingham book before the end of the month. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take that audacity, we're gonna put it back in the jar, and we're gonna save it for a rainy day. I finished it. I'll give you all my thoughts next week in my reading wrap-up. It was weird. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So we're just going to do a fresh drawing to finish this video. Okay, so the choices are the last book you added to your Goodreads TBR. Interesting. Or enemies to lovers. Okay, let's see. Goodreads. What is the last book I added? Oh, this could be anything. Oh! I like this. To Love a Lady by Gabrielle Meyer. This is a retelling of My Fair Lady, which is one of my absolute favorite plays, movies with Audrey Hepburn. And I feel like that kind of could count in a way as enemies to lovers because of the original story. The guy who takes in Eliza Doolittle, he is like this rich man and he's trying to turn her into a proper lady, and she doesn't like him very much. I don't know. It's such a fun story. Okay, so actually, yes. That was such a pleasant surprise. Thank goodness that was the last thing I added. I am so excited about that. There we have it. To Love a Lady by Gabrielle Meyer, a My Fair Lady retelling. That's a lot of books. That is a lot of books on my list. What are you reading this month in the month of March? Is there a new release this month that you're really excited about? Let me know what you're reading this month in March, but that pretty much just makes up this whole monthly TBR. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because that helps YouTube know that other Christians do indeed want to find Christian booktubers here on the interweb. I appreciate you. I hope you have the best week, and I will see you next time. Bye!